Nick Clarko, we didn't see him on the track today. Is he still a chance to play on Sunday?
We'll make a call this afternoon, but because he didn't train today, we're hoping he's going to come in a little bit and be able to do a little bit of work on the track today, but because he didn't, it's making him more unlikely than likely at this point.
There's a number of guys who didn't play last week who all seem to get through the session today, so do you anticipate there being an influx of particularly senior guys?
We're hoping that a lot of those guys that didn't play last week will be available to play, and they train, but once again we'll sit with our medical stuff. We don't play till Sunday, so we just got to work out the balance. We just want to make sure we're taking fit guys, and that's why probably we'll err on the side of caution with Nick. If he's unable to train and do some of the work in preparation for the game, we'll have a discussion with him this afternoon and just see how he's feeling, but it's the same with all those other guys, so we just got to work out the balance, who's been able to do the session, and some have actually surprised us that they're a little bit better than we thought, and others haven't come into the club as well as what we'd hoped today. So we've still got 3 days, so we'll work that out in the next 24 hours.
Training away from the group towards the end, how's he progressing?
Yeah, same sort of thing. He's had a shoulder knock, and we just need to determine whether we play and what numbers come back into the side, and he's certainly in contention to be one of those.
A lot of the guys that came in from the VFL, if we change off the 5-day break, you guys are a bit sort of, they perform relatively well. So how do you balance up sort of rewarding some of the performance with bringing back? Yeah,
that's right. That's a challenge, but it's a good challenge to have. To have availability and guys coming up from the VFL to fill your spots when you need them to, and by and large we were really competitive last week for 2.5 quarters against a Dogs outfit, a pretty experienced and polished side, and it was 11 goals each halfway through the third quarter. So all those guys that came into the side acquitted themselves pretty well. So we'll work out that balance later on this afternoon.
So I noticed Tristan's seems to have done all the work this week. It was like a bit of a scary moment late in the game when he fell to the ground. How closely did you have to monitor him this week, and just how he's progressed?
Well, not at all, because it was all ticked off by our doctors and the AFL doctors on game day, including whether he came from the ground or not. So he reported 0 symptoms at the game, and then since. So he's good as gold. He's done all the training this week, so he's ready to go.
I imagine George Wardwell has gone through his concussion protocols, and you're just being cautious for that extra week.
Yeah. Well, the concussion protocols don't finish for him until after this week's game, so he'll be available for next week. He was out on the track and been able to train, and he's symptom free now, as is LDU. So they're right to go as soon as they fall out of the protocols.
It looks like, having watched training on Tuesday as well, it looks like George is moving really well. Are you surprised at all at how quickly he's bounced back and recovered?
Well, you never know with concussions. Once he got a knock, he continued to play for 5 minutes, thinking it was just a bit of a knock and he'll be okay. And then when he came to the bench, he mentioned it to the doctor. So that's what put him into the assessment. But then he recovered really, really quickly from that knock, and outside of adhering to the protocols, which we all have to comply with, he felt like he could have played last week. He's fresh and ready to go, and just waiting for the protocols to finish so he can get out there and play again.
He's had a few big knocks in the last 12 months. Are you being extra cautious with him for the rest of the year, do you think? Or
very hard to keep George away from just doing what he does normally, and that's just go and attack the contest. And he'll continue to play the way that he normally plays. If we want to be really cautious, we'll say don't play. But he doesn't want that, we don't want that, and it's a risk every time that any player goes out on the ground. It's a collision sport, and you just got to protect himself as best he possibly can in those situations.
Another chance to have a crack on the MCG, get a nice break leading into the game against Melbourne. Like, how nicely can you set yourself to have a really good dip?
Yeah. Well, it's been a bit more pleasant this preparation. 10 days rather than 5 in the lead up to the Bulldogs game. So we're looking forward to the contest. Melbourne are playing some pretty good footy. They've been really, really competitive the last 5 or 6 weeks, and having said that, they haven't been able to secure themselves that many victories in that period of time. A little bit like us. So I'm sure it'll be keenly keenly contested game, and you know the Melbourne midfield is a real strength of their side, and obviously you know Gawn is the leader of that. So we need to make sure we're really competitive in that part of the game, and that was the area of the game that probably got us in the end last week against the Dogs. You know the depth of their midfield and the polish of their midfield probably just got us over the 4 quarters, and we need as a young side to be able to sustain that competitiveness for the whole of 4 quarters, and if we can, we give ourselves a chance against the Demons.
It felt like almost, it was when you beat them earlier in the year, that felt like North had really arrived. It was the best that you played, it felt like, for some time. Do you feel like it's important you need to back that up and show that there's continual improvement against that same side?
We'd like to think so, but every game's different. You know, the sides are a little bit different to what they were round 2, and so we just, no matter who the opponent is, we just got to go out there and try and play our best footy, and knowing full well that they're going to try and stop us playing well, and we're going to try and stop them playing as well as what they can. So a little bit of a war of attrition, but yeah, every time we go out on the park, no matter who the opponent is, we're trying our best to continue to grow and improve, and get some more games into our younger players, and hopefully give ourselves a chance to be really, really competitive.
Last time you played them, Kosi wasn't in the side, and he seems to be a difference maker for the D's. How do you think you'll stop him?
Yeah, well, he's a real X-factor player, and you're right, he was out suspended last time that we played. So yeah, he's been in really good form for them. So, but he's slips beautifully between midfield and forward play, and you're not really sure which one part of the ground he's playing at different stages. So he's a difficult player to curtail. So, but we need to curtail him because he is X factor, and when he plays well, the Demons have a much greater chance of winning games of footy.
Would you be looking at a tag?
Well, that's what I was saying. It's so difficult to tag him when he's playing both midfield and forward and spitting at different stages. So we just got to make sure that our side in general has a look at what his movement patterns are, and try to make sure that he's covered wherever he is, whether he's midfield or forward.
Just from a broader AFL perspective, there's been discussion about a mid-season tournament and sort of suggestion that perhaps the middle part of the year needs like a bit of a spice up. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Oh, I think it's just it's probably a topic just because there's some commentary around is the 8 or 9 set already, and last week's games, the top 9 versus the bottom 9. So it's easy commentary to have, but it's just probably just a moment in time thing. I think we've probably got to get the overall quality of the draw focused on more so than the mid-season tournament at this point in time.
So what would you hope they could do to make the quality of over the 24 to 25 rounds of the draw? Does it need to be more even, or is that a good idea?
Yeah, it's difficult. If we ever get to 20 teams in this competition, then got a whole heap of flexibility with what you could do. You could make it 4 divisions of 5 or two conferences of 10. You could do a lot of really, really special things with the game in the meantime. Whilst it's 18, and then in a couple of years' time it'll go to 19. Pretty awkward numbers. So, they'll work their way through it.